So I had this thought recently that a lot of us have thought before, but we very rarely admit. And that thought is I need to slow down. A thought that is so frequently mentioned in our minds or pushed way back down deep in our spirits because we just don't want to admit that slowing down is something we absolutely need to do for our own spiritual health, for the health of our calling, for the health of our relationship with God and our families and everything in between. But maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you struggle with admitting that yourself. But maybe you have admitted that and you just struggle with actually doing it. Either way, this episode is for you. I should say it's for us, okay? Because I am learning from my own episodes as well as I talk out loud to help you, encourage you, impact you, but also to remind myself. Quick story time before we dive into it. I had the thought of, man, I need to slow down because things have been so insanely busy for the past few months in my life personally. And I'm an open book. I'll share what's been going on because I want to relate to you. And I know that what I go through, the busyness that I'm experiencing, a lot of times you can relate to that same thing. So building a business, hard work. It takes dedication. It takes a lot of mental preparation. It takes a lot of effort. That's one thing that keeps me busy. Another thing is trying to build another side business that I'm also passionate about, keeping me busy. Then I have the personal stuff. For me, I'm planning a wedding. My fiance and I are getting married in 3 months. Ooh, so exciting, but my goodness, does that take up a lot of my time. Then there is also travel and family stuff and home stuff and gotta take care of this and gotta do this. There is an endless list of things to do. And sometimes we get so caught up in doing and going that we don't even realize that we're in hustle mode because it's so normal now. It's so a part of our day-to-day, and we just accept that as is until you reach a point of burnout. You're exhausted. You find yourself wondering why you're struggling with anxiety, why you can't seem to feel motivated. A lot of times, my friend, it's because we are just so tired. Now, when I had that thought recently of, man, I need to slow down, I noticed that immediately my brain followed that thought up with all of the reasons why now is not the time to slow down. There's a business to build. There's money to be made. There's a house to run. There's dogs to take care of. There's my family I gotta see. There's debt I gotta get out of. There's this I gotta take care of over here. Endless reasons as to why now is not the time to slow down. And at the end of the day, we could have all the reasons and all the excuses in the world, but for all of us, it's the same. We struggle with slowing down. We believe that we can't slow down because there's too much to do. There's too many goals we're trying to achieve. And we feel like we're either running out of time or if we slow down, we would fall behind. Two things that the everyday human does not like, especially if you're type A or you're super ambitious or you're a dreamer. Now, I was talking to God about this just very honestly in my mind this morning, and I told him straight up, I can't slow down because there's too much to do. And I felt him tell me, no, you can't slow down because you trust your hustle over trusting me. When I tell you, it was such a heart check that I had to pause for a long time. Mind blank, my prayer stopped. I just had to sit with that for a long time. And I believe that it is worth bringing that same potential fact to you in how it pertains to your current life as well. Are you, my friend, trusting your hustle over trusting God? I think that we do this unintentionally way more than we think. Because as I said previously, it feels so normal to us. We're used to being on go. We're used to an endless to-do list. We're used to this constant, okay, we just gotta keep moving forward. So when something is so normal to you, you don't tend to see it as a problem. And a lot of times that's where the Holy Spirit needs to intervene in our lives to wake us up, to help us to see that not only could we be trusting our hustle over trusting God, but that we're doing it so much to the point where we idolize our hustle, our constant movement. I myself have got to be careful with this because think about it. You are constantly on go because you feel that if you don't go, something is going to be off or wrong, or you're going to fall behind, or it's not going to look right or be right. It's going to affect us financially. It's going to affect us in this way. We're constantly thinking about the negative things that will happen if we do stop moving versus the positive things that could happen if we do stop moving just for a moment. If we just normalize slowing down as part of our routine rather than slowing down just being a seasonal thing that you only do on vacations, you only do during your time off, you only do on the weekends. I believe there's a healthy middle of incorporating this slowed down lifestyle, but yet still creating this consistent progression towards your calling or what you're trying to build, what you're trying to achieve, or what you're just trying to get done. Now, I will say I'm still figuring that out, okay? So I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you what I figured out so that you can do the same. Instead, I'm gonna say what I'm trying to implement to help me figure it out so that if you are struggling with that same thing, we can be on that same journey together. So as I was both planning for how I'm going to implement this beautiful art of slowing down in a healthy way where I'm still making progress, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, Angel, you just need to stop rushing. Okay, that's a fact. I need to stop rushing. My friend, you need to stop feeling like you need to be in a rush all the time. And I don't just mean physically, gotta get here, do this, go over here. I also mean mentally being rushed, emotionally being rushed. There's something that you're rushing because you're just trying to get there or get it over with or not feel triggered in the thought of feeling behind. But here's my problem. I could tell myself to stop rushing all day, and that is obviously the solution to slowing down. I could tell you to stop rushing all day. But when we're in our day-to-day and when we're so used to rushing or going or this constant movement, that is a habit that we have built up over time. And it can be very difficult to break something that your body identifies as habitual because it's just so used to it. Meaning you just simply telling yourself, hey, stop rushing, slow down, it's okay. It's not enough. It's not enough to tell ourselves that. We have to rebuild core beliefs in order to deem it okay enough for us to slow down. Now, I want to talk about different kinds of core beliefs to help you be okay with slowing down and to actually do it. But before I dive into that, let me talk about why I'm even talking about slowing down. When we are trusting our hustle over trusting God, not only do we set ourselves up for burnout, but we set ourselves up for putting our faith in our efforts rather than first and foremost putting our faith in God Himself. When that happens, the position of our faith is going to be disconnected, which means spiritually we are always going to feel off. And that can lead to depression. It can lead to insecurity. It can lead to a sense of skyrocketed fear. It can lead to dissatisfaction and this never-ending feeling of unfulfillment. In addition to that, when we trust our hustle over trusting God, and therefore we can't slow down, we become unable to truly hear Him. How can we hear what God is trying to speak to us? The clarity He wants to give us, the ideas He wants to spark in our minds, the specific steps He might want us to take, the peace He wants to provide us with. How can we hear any of that if we're way too clouded by our hustle? And we wonder why we get confused. We wonder why we can't seem to get fully confident. We wonder why all the hustle that we've been putting into doesn't seem to be producing any results. We have all of these curiosities, yet we fail to realize that the reason why is because we're not hearing God. We're not getting clarity or being guided or being directed as much as we could be. from the one who created us, from the one who put that God-given idea inside of us, from the one who ordains our steps, from the one who makes our identity and our purpose incredibly clear. We don't hear any of that because we're so clouded by our own hustle. That is why I'm talking about slowing down in today's podcast episode, because it's something I truly struggle with. I'm working on it. And I know that you listening to this episode is something you struggle with too. And you have reached a point where you are so exhausted, you are so burnt out, you don't even know what to do anymore. And you're just constantly wondering, man, how do I escape this tiresome hamster wheel that I cannot get off of? Let's learn to get off of it. How do we make progress in our business, in our lives, in our home, in our families? How do we make progress while slowing down? First thing that I want to say, you need to let it be gradual over time. So many of us want to jump from point A to Z right away. We want the success. We want the result. We just want to get there because we're tired of our life and what things look like now, and we're just over it and we want something else. So because of that, we get extremely impatient. We don't allow things to be gradual. We just want to get there quickly, so we rush, we hustle, we push through. But I want to challenge you with a new perspective. When you let things be gradual, you open up your mind to feel more steady as you're pursuing that thing. I know for a fact that whatever it is that you're pursuing, whatever it is that you're accomplishing, I know you struggle with either anxiety, fear, depression, or insecurity. One of them, if not all of them, or at least a few of them. I know that. How do I know that? Because I've been in your shoes. I am in your shoes. But when you allow things to be gradual, you give God the space and the time to pour into you. You give your mind room to think, your emotions the space to feel, the Holy Spirit the capacity to guide you. Because when it's gradual, it's steady. And when it's steady, you don't feel rushed. You don't feel out of breath. You're not even constantly worrying about anything because things are just steady and you accept it as such. You accept things to be gradual. Gradual is not laziness. Gradual is not you taking your sweet old time. No, when I say gradual, I'm talking about this steady progress. Day by day, you're taking action. Day by day, you're stewarding your business well. You're doing the thing. You're working on getting consistent. You're stewarding your home day by day, but it's gradual. And if you're wondering, okay, well, how do I know when I'm going about something gradually? Well, you won't feel worried. You won't feel anxious. And I believe that when we allow ourselves to be steady, when we let it be gradual, we oftentimes will get to success much more quickly than hustling our way through ever could lead us to. When you hustle, things are messy. When you hustle, things are exhausting. When you hustle, anxiety is being triggered. And sometimes we think that hustling will get us to success faster when in actuality, hustle is actually pushing success much, much farther away. But when it's gradual and it's steady, I believe that success is more attainable. The next thing that I'll say, let it shape over time. If you struggle with things being perfect before you put it out there, or before you show it to people, or before anything public, anyone in your family, whatever, can see it, then I know that this is one that you struggle with. Because we're wanting to jump to perfectionism. We're wanting things to be top tier, super, super great. But when we do that, we are in a version of hustle. The reason why perfectionism is a version of hustle is because perfectionism takes a lot of mental effort. You are mentally thinking about every little detail, every little thing that you can't do just yet because it isn't this yet and it doesn't look like this yet. It's this constant mental, intricate details that you are thinking about that is clouding your mind. You are in mental hustle mode because you're just trying to be perfect and you want things to look perfect and to feel perfect and to be perfect. What does it look like to drop that and to say, you know what? I am going to let this take shape over time. I'm going to let it be the version that it is now. And over time, I will get better at it. Over time, it will improve. Let it take shape over time. Don't force the full shape right now. Let the shape come step by step over time. Be okay with it shaping. Sometimes we're not okay with things shaping because a lot of times shaping takes change, right? You're shaping and shifting to try to get it into the full shape that you want it to be, the full visual, the full picture that you want it to be. And if you're not okay with change, if you struggle with shifts or pivots because of your perfectionism problems, well, then you are not allowing yourself to escape the mental chaos of hustle mode. I cannot even begin to express the amount of things that I have changed in my business. From the way I approach content, to design, to website stuff, to my offers, to messaging, to the names of things. I have changed quite a bit of things over time, but the reason why was because this was something I've learned to let take shape gradually, to allow to take shape over time. When we do that, we allow God to build us up piece by piece because he knows what we're ready to handle. He knows our capabilities now. And oftentimes it takes time to create more capacity and make room for more improved capabilities. But you have to be okay with that. Stop trying for things to be perfect. And if that is what's causing your delays, your hesitations, or even your inability to stop hustling so heavily, pause and ask yourself, how can I let that specific thing take shape over time? I'm still doing it. I'm still progressing, but I'm allowing it to take shape over time rather than the full shape of that thing, that picture perfect visual being here right now. This brings me to the final point that I want to say. And just as a recap, to help you slow down while still progressing forward, not rushing, but still moving steadily. We had said, let it be gradual, let it take shape over time. And lastly, let it go. There is something in your hustle journey right now that you know you need to let go of. And that is only something that is between you and God himself. Is it something mentally you need to let go of? Something emotionally? Something physically that you're doing in your business, your idea, your calling, your career right now, in your family, in your home, that you know God has been telling you for a long time, hey, it's time to let this go. This isn't a focus right now. This isn't what I want for you. Let this specific thing go. There's something there. And I hope as I'm saying this to you right now, that something is coming to mind. You have to be okay with letting it go. A lot of times we cling to that thing because we have control issues. That's just a norm in today's world, I believe. I don't think I've met a single person who doesn't struggle with control issues in some way, form, capacity. It is okay. Even though it might be hard to let it go, even if it might not make full sense, even if it scares you to let it go, if you know that God has been calling you to let that thing go, trust him. Let that be the act that you take that finally puts your trust in God over your trust in your hustle. And watch what he does. When you let that thing go, it makes space for something else that God has always intended to fill just for you. It's okay. It's really okay. And just to wrap up this episode, it's on my heart right now to just share something that we all need to be reminded of. You don't need to be Superwoman. You don't need to be Superman. You don't need to handle and carry and do all the things. You don't need to be a hero all the time. I know you have a heavy to-do list. I know you don't want to fall behind. I know you want to reach those goals. I get it. But at what cost? Because to me, the cost of that is you being so weighed down by all of these responsibilities, all of this mental chaos, this constant movement to the point where you are in hustle mode and unable to get out. And that can lead to a deep, dark place if we are not careful and if we are not intentional in getting out of it. God didn't design you to play Superwoman or Superman. He didn't design you that way. Let God be that because he is. You just be a steady steward. That's my first time putting those two words together, by the way, and I'm going to start saying that more often. Be a steady steward. That's it. Trust in God over trusting in your hustle. You do that. All I'm going to say is I cannot wait to hear the testimonials that I know for a fact can come just by you doing that. I hope this episode encouraged you today. If you liked this topic, I would personally love to hear from you on other related topics that maybe popped up in your mind while listening to this episode. So right below the show notes or in the YouTube description, wherever you're watching this episode, click on the link that will lead you to sending us a quick 10-second text to submit a topic request. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what you want to learn or know or talk more about as one of my valued, beautiful listeners. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. I'll see you next week.